Welcome to Bundy and Company Duck Decoys Auction. I'm Valarie Bundy. As Mr. Bundy would say, there's a duck in every piece of wood. And he said it a lot. He said it a lot. Even when we started hardwoods in 2015, he was still saying, there's a duck in there. So, a little information. It's always grand to tell a story, especially about something I know a lot about. I think it was 1984 when we really got serious about marketing ducks. We were doing a lot of art shows, toll painting shows, antique shows, just whatever kind of show that would accommodate our carvings. We would join those and do those. Traveled a lot. John was the one who really did most of the shows. I was the person who made sure production went forward while he was gone in particular. But most of the time, I was the person that organized all the 28 various steps that make a duck. And we had, over time, probably we had 8 employees after 1986. Right around that, including our son, who started working for us when he was 14, pushing a broom, that sort of thing, driving a shovel, that kind of stuff. And then before long, he was using the pneumatic drum sanders. And of course, John was on the big carvers, our 3-spindle duplicator, and our 24-spindle Solstrom. John had to go up to Chicago. That's where we found the machine we wanted to purchase. And Mr. Solstrom introduced John to a owner of a furniture factory there in Chicago. And John made arrangements to stand at the elbow of one of the machine operators and learn how to use the Solstrom. It has an overhead carriage that balances all 24 blades. John is the operator in the center of the machine, and he runs a follower over the pattern, and the knives follow where the follower indicates and carves the piece. 24 heads in small stuff. Bigger pieces like geese or pheasants or herons or fish were done every other spindle. Just 12 at a time instead of 24. The finish that we have on our pieces, you probably have noted if you've glanced in very much, is we have a very, very high sheen lacquer. That's air sprayed. Now that's Johnny Bundy's expertise. Basically, he was patting his head and rubbing his tummy at the same time. John was ambidextrous. He used both hands at once, one to hold and rotate the piece while the right hand maneuvered the air gun with the lacquer. It was quite a feat. None of the other of us could do that. My expertise, as I said, was the production, making sure 28 pieces, 28 steps were always in process at any given moment. We had a busy shop. We had a lot of good workers. I will say that the women that worked for me were my best workers. They were all at the finish end of the production line, and the details, the close details, and the expectation of perfection, they were the people who could bring that to fruition for me. I was the pattern maker, John the carver, and everything else in between, we all did. Our son Jason as well did sanding, a lot of the bandsaw work. It was hard work, and we learned something every single day. There was never a moment that we didn't learn something new or reinforce something we hadn't used for a while that we might have forgotten. And one thing that I noticed early on in my own work was that there really is no space between the brain and the hand. If the brain thinks it, the hand will do it. If the hand is doing it, the brain finds different ways to approach it or make it better or change it in some manner. And so I spent, most of my life using my hands and loved every minute. And John as well. He had a real relationship with our big carver. Absolutely. Yeah. And marketing, that was the hard piece. Marketing and managing employees, those were the two hardest things that we ever did. We had good people to help us market. We started with catalogs that we handed out. We did 5 over time, and the last 4, I guess, 3 or 4, were really connected to the internet, and we had lovely websites. Every website we ever did was a fine website. Didn't necessarily pan out as huge amounts of sales, but it was good advertising. Sure enough, we had a lot of people come to the shop to purchase here, and they loved that. They always got a story from John, either a reality story or a big story, one or the other. And word of mouth, I think, was probably our best advertising. A lot of our customers knew former customers. They were friends or had met them in their line of work or whatever. Wildlife organizations, Ducks Unlimited, the Turkey Federation, lumbermen's associations all over the United States, decoy awards, incentive gifts, all manner of things, birthing memorials, death memorials, and just really good gifts for just about any occasion.